It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want to ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
What is going on, folks, and welcomes to Lions Nation United live here on this Tuesday, 4 p.m., and it's nice and warm here in the state of Michigan. Not too bad, around 70 degrees. I love it. Hopefully you guys love it wherever you're at. It's nice and warm and toasty. Even though I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now because I'm in the office. And the office is a little bit cooler here. We got Chrome in the building, 9 Drinks, Bobo Lane, Paul Ginder, Jonathan Anton, Man Bear Pig, Mofo, Jimbo, 9 Drinks. Happy you could make it. I know you slept, you worked third shift. And so appreciate you getting in there, jumping in this bad boy. We're going to talk about the latest news and rumors regarding our Lions, and I'm sure you already know about one of the rumors with Quinnen Williams. We'll definitely get into that. I don't know if other people will get in here. We'll see. I sent the link out. People come in or they don't. That's the way it is. We got 99 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona, Richmond, Virginia over there. I wonder how warm it is over there, Paul Ginder. So I don't know about Virginia, but I know Phoenix is definitely warm. I didn't even have to, Paul didn't even have to tell me that it was 99 degrees. I can tell you it's really warm over there for sure. So what's up, Jean Duzay? What's up, my man? I destroyed your name, and that is okay for sure. I'm Gilbert. Okay. He's Gilbert. Okay. Absolutely. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up if you're on Facebook. We're on multiple platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and on YouTube. On my personal Facebook page, on Lions Nation United Facebook page, and share it out. Get this thing rolling. And we're 75 degrees. Perfect. That's about as perfect you can get right there, 75. Let's get into a couple signings. The Lions signed kicker John Parker Romo after the tryout. So we finally got competition for Michael Badgley. This is very much expected. This happens to every single team every year. Why is that? Because you want to have at least one guy competing with your kicker who could take kicks as well in preseason. So, but I'll tell you what, John Parker Romo has a shot to actually become the kicker. He's a good kicker. He kicked a 57-yard field goal. Seattle, when he was in the XFL at their stadium, he actually holds the record. He's got the same amount of extra points, well, close to 34-34 compared to Michael Badgley's 33-33. Yes, he was part of the XFL. It's the same difference, though. Kicking, it doesn't really matter what you're part of. So he'll have a legit shot to win that kicking job. And I still favor Michael Badgley as you expect, but make no mistake about it, it's a competition, and they're going to select the best kicker out there. So we got a young guy to compete there, and we'll see what happens. Their Lions also signed wide receiver Dylan Drummond after the rookie minicamp. So he is a new wide receiver on this roster. I think it's an absolute long shot for him to make this roster. I don't think he makes it. I think this is more of a camp body, 6 foot tall, 185. He didn't really do that much at Eastern. He had a little over 500 yards in receptions. And I think that's more of just a camp body. You know, maybe he makes the practice squad. That's a possibility for him. But I absolutely do not believe he makes the roster. Other than that, we had rookie minicamp. Sam LaPorta was a standout at minicamp. He was killing it. He was beating every route. He was beating everybody defensively. And that's good to hear. You want to see Sam LaPorta. For me personally, of all the draft picks, I want this guy to succeed the most. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm not a big fan of getting a tight end in the draft. So if this guy blows up and does great, it's worth the draft pick. I'm happy. He's a Detroit Lion. I want to see this guy blow up and do better than TJ Hockenson. Man, if he does, I am so happy. Really so happy, because it does give you another weapon out there with Brock Wright and having James Mitchell, and Jared Goff just has another guy he can throw the football to, but he was killing it in minicamp. It's good to hear. I can't wait for the veterans and the rookies to get together. I can't wait to see training camp. Absolutely cannot wait. Yes, Mohammed. I destroy his name. I think it's like Ibrahim. I keep thinking Abraham, but it's not. It's Ibrahim. And I'm sure I destroyed it, but he did really well as well. Taking all the carries at running back, I think he makes the roster. I truly do. I think he makes it over Jamar Jefferson and potentially Jason Kabinda. I would have him above them. PC Payload, what's going on, man? Got to hang out with him at the casino. Really, really cool. But yeah, I think that he has a shot to make it. I really want to see LaPorta do well. Jack Campbell did really good in rookie minicamp as well. He did get beat one time by Sam LaPorta. Other than that, he's shown exactly why we drafted him and why he's going to be an integral part to the Detroit Lions defense. It was nice to see. Other than that, a lot of players injured. Brian Branch did not practice. You had Jahmyr Gibbs, did not practice. Obviously, Hendon Hooker did not practice. No big deals at all, folks. This is minicamp. They're going to be very precautionary. They're fine. Except for Hendon Hooker, you're going to have to wait to see him. You know, obviously, we've known about his injury for months and months and months now. So everyone else is precautionary. Don't think anything. I think LaPorta is going to be a really good player, and I thought he was the most fluid mover in tight ends of the draft. Steve-O, I really hope you are correct. I want you to be correct. Absolutely need you to be right, because we need this tight end to work out. We've invested a lot of capital in tight ends the past couple years, last decades or 2 decades, and these guys like Ebron, Hawkinson, Pettigrew, I thought did decent, for where he was at, but a lot of these guys just have not panned out. So I'd like to see LaPorta pan out and be the guy. It would be outstanding if that occurs. 100%. Let's get into the rumors of Quinnen Williams. Is this probably why you're here? Quinnen Williams right now has removed all the Jets information from his social media sites. That's what all players do now. If you're pissed off, you remove their information. What's up, Antonio Jenkins? You remove your information from social media. It's apparently the new I want a new contract. He wants a new contract. He wants to get paid. 24 years old, 12 and a half sacks. This guy's going to get paid a ton of money. He's going to get paid more. Well, he's going to probably get paid the second most from a defensive tackle right underneath Aaron, the great one. So Aaron Donald. The thing is, everyone says, should we trade for him? And like I said, I made 2 videos on it. I would love to have Quinnen Williams on this football team. But there is a couple questions here. Is he a product of the great defense over there for the New York Jets? That's one thing. 2, would the Jets even be willing to trade him? I have my absolute doubts that they would not be willing to trade him because they're trying to win a Super Bowl. And why would you get rid of one of your best pieces when you're trying to win a Super Bowl? It doesn't make a lot of sense. They just traded for Aaron Rodgers. It just doesn't feel like they're going to move on from him. It does not feel, but do you got to make a phone call? Absolutely. And so does 31 other teams. Well, 30 other teams. The Lions being the 31, and obviously Jets are not calling themselves, but he would be a absolute force on the Lions defensive line. He would be, I think, the finishing touch to make the Lions, and Mike Valenti said it on 97 on the ticket, and I agree, a Super Bowl contender. If you were to get a Quinnen Williams with the roster that we have, you'd be a Super Bowl contender. It'd finish the defense, in my opinion. Defensive line would be outstanding. I'd be happy with the linebacking core and outstanding defensive backfield. Your offense, top 3. Super Bowl contender if you get a Quinnen Williams. But if they're willing to trade, you're going to have to give up 2 first-round picks. I don't think I was seeing people say maybe a second-round pick. No, it's going to be 2 first-round picks to get a Quinnen Williams. Let me know in the comment section, would you trade for Quinnen Williams? Y for yes and N for no. You'd have to give up 2 first-round picks. You would have to pay the guy, which I don't care. I think the payment is the last of my worries. We got the money to pay him. He deserves a big contract. So I don't care about that. it would be the first round picks. So it'd probably be a 2024, 2025 first round pick. And that would be thinking that you can go ahead, right, and you're going to win a Super Bowl. Because if you're giving up 2 first round picks, that means you're comfortable with what you got right now at wide receiver, because you got to look towards next year's draft. There's a lot of great players. You got quarterbacks in next year's draft. You got a lot of wide receivers. There's some good players. So you got to say that you're willing to okay. So right now, no, and no. So everybody says no. Mike says 25 million a year, probably 25 million a year, 28 million a year, 25, 26. It's going to be a lot of money to get to pay Quentin Williams. But again, I'm not too worried about the contract because we can make it work because we have been good fiscally. It's more of the draft capital for me. And I don't know if I'm willing to give up 2 first round picks for it. Paul Ginder says no. Everybody's saying no because I think it's the draft capital. It's not the player. He's a damn good player. It's not the money. It's the draft capital. Bobo says he'd do 1. I just don't think it would be 1. I think you would have to give up 2. Because the Jets, to me, are a team right now that holds all the cards, too. They're a Super Bowl team. Why would they just get rid of him? He's going to eventually play. He can hold out, and he can wipe everything off. But they hold all the cards. So I just don't see them doing it for chump change. And they want to win a Super Bowl. So I think you'd have to give up quite a bit. 5 years, 90 million. It's going to be a lot more than that. It's going to be a lot more than that. It would probably be 5 years, 130 million. Exactly, Mike. Too much draft capital. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I'm not. And I got to be frank. I do agree with Mike Valenti though. You'd be a Super Bowl contender. I agree. And if you're a fan that would love to get him, totally get it. I think every fan base right now is talking about the situation, but it's not the money for us. It's more of the draft capital. It's more of the draft capital. I'm not saying yes to those 2 first round picks. You're going to be 20 in the 20 and 30 range. That is another thing you got to look at, Weston Lyon. Agree. If you do 2 first round picks, it's probably going to be very late. Right? If you're expecting to go to a Super Bowl, it's going to be late this year. But again, did the Los Angeles Rams expect to be the 6th pick in the draft? Probably not. So you just never know. It's one of those deals. So that's going on with the news in the latest regarding our Lions. Not a lot going on, honestly. So if you got questions, put it in the comment section. We're going to do the mailbag segment really early today because it is not a lot going on right now. We are in that lull period between after the NFL draft and before the training camp. So it is a lull period. I totally get it. So if you got questions, we're just going to open up to you guys. And if I miss it, just copy and paste it, throw back in there. And you're doing it. He says, you mortgage your first round for the next 1 or 2 years for one dude. Nope. Totally get it. I can't argue. You can't argue with that. That is a legit argument against it. To mortgage your future for a guy and say you don't do well and you underperform. Oh my God. It looks like a bad trade, right? Because you're like, you missed out on players you can pick in the draft whom Brad Holmes has been excellent in the draft. So I agree with you. I have no problem with someone saying no and saying this is the reason why. And if you're the opposite, I get it. I'm going to disagree with the concern about the cap because if you're the best teams, you're drafting 27, 60, 95. That's nothing to lose when you're getting the top players. And I understand that philosophy as well. That's why it's a legit question that many teams are asking because it's not a easy one, right? It's more of this is a debate here because it's a legit debate. And I think the front office is debating it. And I think many front offices are debating it. What do you think of the Lions going after Chase Young? That's interesting. First off, what would you have to give up to get Chase Young? I don't think it would be that much. because I think that the team may be kind of fed up with him. I think he's probably don't want to be there. You're talking about the 5th-year option thing. They didn't do it, so it's not going to cost you much. How is his injury? How is his injury? We don't know the injury right now, so I would be willing to do a mid-round pick. We're talking like a 5th-round pick. I'd do that. How about we take that 5th-round pick that we got for Jeff Okudah, and I'll throw it for Chase Young. I'll do that. When does training camp start? Let me get you the exact days. I keep forgetting to do this. To Detroit Lions training camp dates. Let me get you the exact dates right now because I need to know it personally. For personal reasons as well. Let's see here. And that was not this past one. Let me get the dates for you guys. The dates is coming up right here. Mandatory minicamp, no. OTA workouts, no. Let me get the off-season dates for you. Still trying to find it. So we got for training camp. It starts late July, roughly 5 weeks off. Late July. No, sorry. Event is late June or early July. Late June or early July. That's when it is. If I miss your question, repost it. Hashtag FGB, who do you think is going to have the biggest impact for us week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs? I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to have the biggest impact for us week 1. I think it's going to open it up for everybody else. Not saying like he's going to get the most yards, but I think it's going to open it up for everybody else, like the Amon-Ra St. Browns, like even David Montgomery. I think it's just going to open it up. I think he's going to have a big impact on this team. And I think he's going to be a weapon that's going to be used quite a bit versus Kansas City. Should have picked Canty instead of Campbell. He would be a better pass rusher than Quinnen. At this point, go big Broderick Martin when Hell of Holmes is going to pay $25 million per year for a defensive tackle. The Hell of Holmes, yeah, the payment's not to me the concern. Is more the draft capital. But yeah, Broderick Martin, we need this guy to be good. He's going to be a good run stuffer for sure. I can't wait to see him develop. A lot of people ask, why did we go double up when we got Lee McNeil and Levi Nwuzurike? Now we found out Lee McNeil is the better one. Hopefully, Broderick Martin can do the same thing for us. He says, I'm going to say Jared Goff. For sure, I think Jared Goff hold it down for sure, but I think that defenses is really going to have to game plan around Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think the game plan is going to open it up for the wide receivers and the running backs. That's why I'm saying Jahmyr Gibbs. It reminds me of Jahvid Best. We had Jahvid Best. It opened everything else up because he's such a dynamic running back when he was on the field before he was injured. I think it's going to be the same case here with Jahmyr Gibbs. It's going to open. He may not have like the biggest impact when you think of players on the field because, when we had Jahvid Best, Calvin Johnson was at a big impact and Matthew Stafford was as well. But man, Jahvid Best was opening it up, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do that as well just because he's so dynamic. Has nothing but positive rumors come out of minicamp, knows where to be, and is very teachable. And that's what you love to hear. That's what I made a video on this, and I love hearing that he's teachable. He's got everything there. He just needs to learn the system and get time under his feet. So absolutely. I love hearing that, and I can't wait to see him play in preseason. I can't wait to watch him in training camp in the regular season. Sue is still available, Bob Lane. Yes, he is. He's still available. He's a free agent. I would expect him, though, to do what he did last year. If he actually plays this year, he'll wait till halfway or 3/4 of the season and sign with a team that's a contender. That's what he did last year. I expect him to probably do the same thing there. I believe our defense will stop the Chiefs. Ooh, Paul, that's a big one. 100%. Chiefs maybe can hold them down, but to stop them, that's extremely difficult. I think it will be a high-scoring game. I do believe so. I'm not gonna rip on them if they get 34 points scored on them. I think that'd be a good job by the defense. Still, it's gonna be a hard game. It's definitely gonna be a hard game. Continue to throw questions in the comment section, folks. The more questions you ask, the more you get on this stream, and that's hashtag facts, because this runs through you guys. You guys run it and have fun through it. Let's see. I did a simulation of Madden 23 in the current roster. The Lions, Chiefs, and the Lions won by 7. Interesting. I have the Lions winning that game, and I know a lot of people will give me grief for it, but I have Lions winning in the upset. I just think that them having all offseason to focus on this one game, and with Jahmyr Gibbs in there, I think the Lions will pull the victory. Devin Davis, hashtag smash the hole. I did it. Oh, okay. So it's the same one that I just did there. Holmes isn't going to take anyone that will tie up that much money. Jay Money says not going to happen there. He does like do one-year deals. He's a Lions guy. He's played Baker's dozens season, bro. He still lives here, loves Detroit, never badmouth the city and teammates. He'd break it. Oh, yeah, I agree. Ndamukong Suh, if he wanted to come back to Detroit and be part of the Lions to do a run, like in the fall or whatever, halfway through the season, damn straight I'm going to pick Ndamukong Suh up. It can't hurt. It can only help. Ndamukong Suh, I'd love to see him in. He's not what he used to be. I don't care. I still like to see him in Honolulu blue and silver. I get that. I mean, not wanting to train the summer. Yes, for sure. Who will have more rushing yards, Washington or Gibbs? Rushing yards, Washington or Gibbs? Well, I think that Jahmyr Gibbs will have more all-purpose yards because he's going to be utilized more as an offensive weapon. I think you'll see that. Rushing yards, it's a little bit different there. So I'm going to go ahead and go with, what up, though, Tim Hutchinson, man? What's going on, man? I'm going to go with all-purpose. I'll give it to my guy, Gibbs. Running is different. Quentin Williams will not cost 2 first-round picks. He says it won't. I think it does. He says it won't. If he gets traded, we'll find out for sure. I mean, that's just my thought. You could be correct. Maybe it doesn't cost 2 first-round picks. That's just my thought there. I never thought Prince Fielder would never sign with the Tigers until he did. Suh come back, in my opinion. Yeah, man. Prince Fielder, Cecil's son. That was interesting for sure. Star would be awesome. Seahawks after that will be a tough one. It is going to be tough for sure. Motor City, Dan Campbell's 4 months to get this team fired up for one game. All the BS coming from Kansas City media and fans is going to get a big old can of blue silver whoopee. Hey, I'm telling you, man, look, I'm just confident in our team. It will be prepared and ready. I think they are. They said that Suh was great in the locker room. Yeah, I don't think he's not been a guy. He's not like he's a disruptor. Do we extend Jared Goff? We don't need to extend Jared Goff this year, folks. He's got 2 years left in his contract. My thing is just wait till after the season. I have no problem waiting at all. Like, he's got 2 years on his deal. Wait after the season. Breakout runs Gibbs has. That is true, J Mommy. Smash that like button for Mike. Let's get that ultra combo. If we do get to 100 likes, we do ultra combos on here, but you got to get to 100 likes. So if you want to hear it, hit it. I'm not opposed to Suh by any means. I love the guy. I just don't think it'll happen. I'm kind of with you there, unless the Lions are legitimately like a contender and they're looking really good. I kind of agree with you there. Golf under contract for 2 years for reasonable. Yeah, I agree. Suh accidentally trips over other players. Heads up. No biggie. Yeah. It's funny how he leaves Detroit and he never gets all these penalties. When he was in Detroit, he was getting all the penalties in the world. They threw more at Prince, and he deserved it. Wasn't hard to snag him. Was a wild season. Remember that correctly. It was a wild season. I do remember that. I watched that whole season. The Christian Corral, Cleveland Covington, anything more than Levi Insurance? I think he's a camp body. That's what I think he is. A rotation. Is he the insurance for Levi? I think he could a little bit be, but I don't think they expect Levi to be playing. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I think they went into free agency in the draft expecting him not to play. Expect the worst and hope for the best. Do we sweep Green Bay this season? I'm going to say yes. Why not? Yeah, I'm going to say we sweep Green Bay Packers this year for sure. And I think the Lions do it. The Lions sweep them. We play in Green Bay week 4. I think we beat them, and then we win here at Ford Field. Why not? We sweep the Packers. I'm going to go ahead and say it. That's what we do. We sweep the Green Bay Packers. Do we sweep Chicago? I think Chicago will be a little more difficult than Green Bay. And I think he was not thinking of Washington. He's thinking about David Montgomery, Silver Surfer. I'm thinking that we do sweep Chicago, but we don't sweep the Vikings. How many of our 2023 draft picks makes this team, and how many start? Start's different, making the team. I say 7 make the team, 1 doesn't. I think it's all different starting. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, you'll see him out there a lot. I think he'll quote-unquote be starting, even though David Montgomery is going to be starting. So I'm going to consider him a starter. I say Jack Campbell, I can consider him a starter. Tight end LaPorta, I consider him to be a starter for tight end. Brian Branch, I think he'll get time at safety, maybe even at nickel sometimes. I don't know if it's going to be considered starter. I think he'll get some playing time, but I wouldn't consider it starting just because we got so many other players like Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker. I think he'll get at number 3 and then sometimes at nickel, just on packages specifically there. I think that you're going to see Broderick Martin quite a bit on the defensive line. I don't know if he'll be considered starting, but you're going to see him out there quite a bit in rotation. Those guys are going to get a lot of playing time. So I'm not suggesting that they'll all be starters for sure. But yeah, let's see here. If you don't know, you don't know. Detroit going to kill the PA. Goff's best ability is selling the. He is. This is something that I praised Jared Goff when the trade happened. Because when I was looking at Jared Goff, when I was watching his film, a lot of people are upset about the Stafford thing. One thing Jared Goff is really good, and I consider him one of the best in the NFL, is him to sell the run. Like when they does a play action, he puts that football all the way in the gut of the running back and pulls it back out. Like if you watch Stafford, it would be like he just did like a turnaround and there's no sell. Goff sells that damn thing, and I think that's what really helps play action as well, is because he sells it so well. So it gives the chance for one of the DBs to take a step forward and kind of screw up, and it opens up for the wide receiver. But Jared Goff sells play action like a mug. He's definitely good at it. So you got to give him, I consider him one of the best in the NFL in that. Who's going to have the bigger impact, Sutton or Johnson, CJ Gardner-Johnson? Damn, great question. Oh my God, that is absolutely difficult to answer. I'll go Sutton, not because I think CJ Gardner-Johnson is bad, but I think that Sutton is that number 1 cornerback that we need. And maybe people won't throw towards him as much. But man, they're both going to have a major impact. I think Gardner-Johnson will get more interceptions and it'll be more game-changing. Like you'll notice Gardner-Johnson more than Sutton, but I think Sutton will have an impact, but you'll just notice Gardner more. One of those deals. Hashtag FGB, do you think that Aiden Hutchinson gets? Do you think he'll get more than 9.5? I say sacks. I said it last week. Aiden Hutchinson gets 15 sacks this year. I think with the additions to the defensive line and the secondary will give him, I think quarterbacks will hold on the football for a second longer. Because how many times was Aiden Hutchinson this close to getting a sack and he didn't get it? I think this year he gets those sacks. He'll get 15 sacks. I think he does. Because he'll have just that 1 second more because we got way better of a defensive backfield. Hashtag FGB. Does Hooker see playing time this season besides preseason? you won't see him in preseason because he's still injured. Playing time, it would have to be probably after week 10. I think they're going to do exactly the Jameson Williams route. So that's how I see it this time. So for sure, he's not going to play in preseason, the injury. Who's your non-squad maker from the rookies, Mike? Any undrafted make it? Dang. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell like who is not going to make this roster from there. You never know because there's always somebody that stands out when you don't know. One of those deals. That's kind of what I got going there. I'm going to go with the wide receiver in the 7th round, even though he probably makes the roster. The thing is, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because training camp haven't even hit yet. Hell, we've just had rookie minicamp, so I'm making an absolute guess. From the undrafted, I would say Muhammad Ibrahim makes the roster. I think he's the closest one to make it. It's just really hard to tell because we haven't seen anything. Hell, like Jerry Jacobs, I thought he would make the roster when we got him as an undrafted rookie, but did I expect him to be as good as he is? No, I didn't. I expect him to be good, not as good as he is. What about Houston? I could see Houston getting like 11, 12 sacks. I think we're going to get a lot more sacks. 11 and 12 there. Hey, Mike, whose jersey are you getting? Hashtag FGB. I'll probably get a Jahmyr Gibbs jersey. I like running backs quite a bit. I had Javid Best jersey. I still would love to get a Reggie Bush jersey. You know, I for whatever reason, I do like the running backs. This is one of my things. How long of a leash does JMO have? Will he have an immediate impact week 7? I don't think he'll have an immediate impact week 7. I think that it will take a little bit of time. Thankfully, though, he's got training camp this year, minicamp this year, offseason with Jared Goff, unlike he had last year. But it does hurt not playing in the regular season games, and he's got preseason. So I think he's got the whole season. I don't think there's that much of a hold on him. I think he's got the whole season. 2-part question. Who gets more sacks, Hutchinson or Houston? I'm going to go Hutchinson. Best offensive weapon of the year. Offensive rookie of the year. He's got his LaPorta as a dark horse. Okay, I see your dark horse there. Offensive rookie of the year. I'm going to say it's going to be between Bryce Young, Bijan Robinson, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Those will be your 3. I'm going to go ahead and be a homer and say Jahmyr Gibbs. Because I just think he's going to be used everywhere on this offense. Everywhere. And I think Bryce Young will have some struggles as a quarterback. I think C.J. Stroud will have struggles. I think Bijan Robinson will do really good, but at least I think we'll use Jahmyr Gibbs more than Robinson. By the way, NFL draft lottery tonight. Yes, it is. So, chat lottery, what's going on, buddy? How is school? I'm live right now. Huh? Meds, okay. Put it in my room. What do you think is going to be the strength of the defense this year? Because we know the offensive line. I'm going to go the strength of this defense is the secondary. Absolutely be the secondary. I think they're the absolute strength upon strength. With all the defensive backs and everybody, they're going to be the guys. You won't have to wait for Jahmyr to show an impact. He's going to be playing in preseason games. Yep, you'll see him in preseason. I just don't know how long they'll play him. Probably quite a bit because he's not going to play in the regular season, for sure. Besides defensive tackle, what's our biggest weakness? Man, that's a great question. I don't think we got that many weaknesses on this football team. So when I say this weakness by Alan Nelson's question here, I'm not suggesting it's actually a weakness. I'm just saying it's probably of all the parts of this team, maybe the weakest part, which is not that bad. Linebacker, and that's not that weak. I love Jack Campbell. Alex Anzalone, I think, will be fine. And Malcolm Rodriguez. I tell you what, Montgomery is going to be a pain in the rear to tackle with the intensity style and his 224 pounds. Gibbs on the other side is going to leave us breathless with his swoosh. Silver Surfer, you're on 100% right there. If JMO can't show speed in the preseason plays, what do you expect is going to be a concern for me? I expect him to do well. So I wouldn't be too concerned, in all honesty. I think he'll be fine. How many touchdown yards, Jamo, this year? I'll say 4 because he's coming back in week 7. And we have so many freaking weapons that it's going to be hard for him to get all the touchdowns. So I'll go 4. Do you think that Rodrigo has any chance seriously competing against Jack Campbell for a starting position? No. Jack Campbell is your starting linebacker. You don't take a guy at pick 18. He will be the starter. I think Malcolm Rodriguez will be on situations, and Alex Anzalone will be starter as well. Jamo is a stud. Yeah, I don't think there's concerns. I don't. Muhammad highlight reel is 25 minutes long. He ran all over the Big Ten. He's basically a bowling ball. I know. I love it, man. I love the pick as an undrafted rookie. That's why I think he makes the team. Like, I really do. Hell, he may make the team over Craig Reynolds, and I love Craig Reynolds. I think he makes the team, whether it be Jason Cabinda, though, and Jahmyr Jefferson. I think those are the guys. Green is going to play next year's starter. Houston gets 15 sacks at least. If he does, he's going to get a monster contract by the Lions because this is last year under contract because we released him when he was last year. So he will get a monster contract if he gets that. What's the odds the Pistons gets the first overall pick? I couldn't tell you. I don't know nothing about NBA. Hopefully they do, though. Craig Reynolds is mid. Houston, 8.5 sacks in 6 games. Hutchinson, 9.5, 16 games. Houston's going to lead the team in sacks this season. Reminds me of Strahan. If he does, he's going to get money, and I don't care. We pay him. We got to pay the guy. If he's getting that amount of sacks, got to pay the man. 151 in the chat. Let's go. Let's get to 100 likes with that Ultra Combo. Yes, that means we got 6 people on Facebook. Appreciate it on Facebook. We got 151 people on YouTube. Lions Nation Unite. Make sure you hit that like button and hit that thumbs up if you're on Facebook. Who are the 6 captains this year? Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see. Jared Goff, Taylor Decker, and how about Amon-Ra St. Brown? I'll do that. Maybe kicker or something like that. I don't know. Defensively, I'll go with Romeo Okwara, Alex Anzalone, and CJ Gardner-Johnson. I'll go those 3. I'll go those. Let's see. Will Jack Campbell start? Yes, I do have him starting over there. Let's see. Funny with all the Gibbs talk, I feel teams will overlook Montgomery, and he'll be running wild than everyone. I know. Look, David Montgomery is flying under the radar, but he's not going to be flying under the radar that long. He's such a pounder and a grinder. He's a better Jamal Williams. Like I said, we talked about, who'd we talk about all last year? DeAndre Swift. Jamal Williams was just consistent getting those yards. Same thing. It's going to be with David Montgomery, but I think he's better. So you're right. He is flying under the radar, and that's great for us. I don't think that teams are going to think he's flying under the radar. I'd like specifically Chicago Bears. They're not going to be thinking anything. Hashtag FGB. Who's going to be your top fantasy prospect? Great question right there. Who was my top fantasy prospect? Probably be like a Saquon Barkley is going to be up there. Running backs are always the high you want to go for sure. I'd go some sort of running back who's going to get a ton of touches. That's who you probably want to draft. Saquon Barkley potentially could be that guy for sure. Because he actually stayed healthy last year and compared to many other years. Wasn't it Herman Edwards who said, don't press send interview? Show me that JMO? Don't know. How does a guy like Keaton Thompson make it to the 53-man roster? I like the versatile player, but there's the right fit. It's gonna be difficult, man. It's probably not. Practice squatter. It's gonna be one of those things. You already know who at least 5 is gonna be, right? So who's that number 6? It's gonna be difficult. Jamal was better, unfortunately, brought more intangible. Yes, his intangibles was amazing, and I think because he was so vocal, such a vocal leader and such a great personality. But make no mistake about it, David Montgomery has got great intangibles as well. He's a pro's pro. He was beloved in Chicago. He was one of their leaders there. He's a really good, he's just a different type of player. How much do we use Gibbs in the slot wide receiver? I think we use him in those packages probably 6-7 times a game. It wouldn't shock me. Jamal Williams had a little over 1,000 yards. So what do you expect Montgomery to have? I'd say probably 1,200, 1,300 yards in that range. I think he'll get that. They're going to give him the football quite a bit. In touchdowns, I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to get. I don't think he'll get the same as Jamal Williams, the amount of touchdowns he had, but he'll get a significant amount. Chase Lucas still injured. I don't know about that. Why is Good Morning Football now placing Detroit as a bold prediction at 10-7, the Bears at 12-5? They're on crack cocaine. Folks, if that's what was said on Good Morning Football, that is the reason why you do not do drugs, folks. That right there. That is the reason why you do not do drugs. What do you think of Hooker? I absolutely love Hendon Hooker. I've loved him for a long time, and we got him in round 3, pick 68, value pick. If he wasn't injured, he would have been a first-round talent. The guy's a leader. He is very accurate, and he doesn't throw interceptions. Who does that remind you of? But he's versatile. He's mobile. He's a more mobile Jared Goff. That's what he is. Montgomery is a superior back. Yeah, Montgomery is awesome, man, and he's a great back. Do you see the Vikings are going to release Cook after June 1? I did not see they're going to release him. I was shocked that they couldn't trade him. But if that's a lot of money on their cap, it's good that Cook's gone. I was tired of dealing with him. Isn't really a good line back. Is a goal line back. He'll be used in that. Best believe if there's first and goal at the 1 yard line, what you've seen from Jamal Williams is exactly what you're going to see from him. I guarantee it. It's a lot easier for undrafted to make the roster 2 years ago. They're going to be cutting some good players this season starts. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But again, when you look at the running backs, Muhammad right there, I think has a legit shot to make the roster because he's going against Jamar Jefferson and Jace Kabinda. He's a bowling ball. So I think he has a chance to jump Jamar. And Jamar didn't make the roster. He has a chance to jump Jace Kabinda. He does. Let's see. They got the Bears. That is definitely crack. Who leads the team in tackles this year? Who leads the team in tackles? Man, that's a great question. I'll put CJ Gardner-Johnson as him who leads in tackles. Let's see. Fields has a potential to be a top 5 quarterback. He's got to improve his pass game. Look, he could run, but he was terrible passing the football. Now, they did give him more weapons, but he's got to prove it. You don't just he's got to prove it first for me. But he is a dynamic quarterback. You just got to prove it. Montgomery has never had the offensive line that I never had an offensive line like he does here. Chicago's offensive line is trash. Jared Goff. Hey, when we drafted Hendon Hooker, I laughed for 5 minutes straight. And I just said, Jared Goff, because I've been saying they're going to draft. They love Hendon Hooker. I've been saying it, and I've been getting made fun of by some other people saying it wasn't going to happen, that you're telling lies. And I said, they like Hendon Hooker. They're probably going to draft him. That's why I said it all offseason. And I took a lot of grief for specific people. Guess what? Who's right? How do you think the Jets are going to do it worse with Rodgers? They'll do better. I mean, Wilson was butt cheeks. Rodgers is not the same Rodgers, but if they just had a competent quarterback, they would be a playoff contender. He's much better than what Wilson was. Have you been racing the new Chevy yet? I feel like I've been people wanting to, that's for sure. How many team captains have we drafted the last 3 years? Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know, honestly. I love Josh Reynolds too. He has a potential to be a cut. He does. I don't think he gets cut though. I still think he's top 5 wide receiver on our team. He says Muhammad is slow. Muhammad is a bowling ball. I think he makes. I would take him. Who would take? I'll take Muhammad over Jahmyr. Who would take Jahmyr over Muhammad? If you are a Jahmyr Jefferson fan, put JJ. If you are more of Muhammad Ibrahim, put MI. I think a lot of people probably go MI on this one. If young Jared Goff was in the draft, where do you think he would have been taken if a young Jared Goff was in the draft? Ooh, probably in the first round somewhere. Maybe late first round. That's probably where he'd go. In this last year's draft, there's a lot of quarterbacks. I think Jared Goff is better than right now. He's definitely better than I would say even Anthony Richardson, AR-15, even though I think AR-15 has a higher ceiling, but right now he's better than him. I think he's, CJ Stroud is similar to Jared Goff, but I say top, he'd be a first round pick for sure. Hello, everyone. Hashtag smash a hole. Who gets the most turnovers, including interceptions? Defensively, who gets the most? I'm going to say Kirby Joseph. This guy is he's a knack for the football. He always have, and he always will. We got all MIs right now. MI. So everyone's going Muhammad for sure. That's the way I see it. And maybe they do less running backs and he doesn't make the roster. But if they're going to do 4 running backs, you got between Jahmyr, him, and Jason. And I'm going to take Jahmyr. That's me personally. Chase Lucas better be healthy. Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know if he's healthy. I don't know. I have no idea on that one. Goff had great numbers coming out of Cal and some good quarterbacks from Cal for sure. Yeah, he did. He did have, and he was the first pick in the draft. He was first overall. But I think that Bryce Young would have been the first pick in the draft if there was another young Jared Goff. I still think Bryce Young would be the first pick. CJ Stroud probably would be the second pick, and probably Jared Goff would go, but I think he'd go before AR-15 because I think he's more ready. But again, AR-15 has more, upside. So it depends obviously what scheme. If you're a team that wants to run the football and have a mobile quarterback, you'd obviously take a AR-15 over a Jared Goff. If you're more of an offense like the Lions offense, you probably would be more towards Jared Goff. So it just depends. Let's see here. Who gets bumped at linebacker? I think he makes the team. I'm not saying he's not making the team, but I think his cut gets significantly removed, and that's Derek Barnes. He's going to make the team, but he is going to get a lot of playing time removed. I trust Malcolm Rodriguez over Derek Barnes at this point, and I think the coaching staff does as well. Levi, I don't know if he's at workouts. I haven't heard anything. I know he was at the last one that they did. Now, he wasn't really doing anything, so he'll be there. I don't know if he's doing anything, though. I still have the fact that Rodgers' last pass was Kirby Joseph. I know. Don't you love it? Absolutely love it. Love Kirby Joseph. Who will be the starting defensive backs? You got Cameron Sutton, absolute starter right there. I think you're going to have Emmanuel Mosley be a starter, Jerry Jacobs be a starter. Those will be your corners. And you're going to see C.J. Gardner-Johnson at safety and starting at corner. Like, if Jerry Jacobs is not in, he'll be thrown in. It's one of those, he'll be on the field the whole time. C.J. Gardner-Johnson will be on the field the whole time. It just depends where he's at. And then for starters, you're going to see C.J. Gardner-Johnson at safety, Tracy Walker, and Kirby Joseph. You'll see them quite a bit. And then you're going to see Brian Branch put in there in packages. So there'll be packages, but those will be the guys that get the most playing time. Actually, to Detroit Lions, do you think that Starling Thomas V from ULB make the roster? Probably not. Maybe the practice squad. Let's see here. Chicago moving very well. I do not like all their underestimating. No, I don't think anyone's underestimating them. I think they're 7-8 win team. To go from 3 wins to 12 wins is a big jump. And their offensive line has still got problems. They still got problems. 7, 8 wins, I think that's not underestimated. I think that's kind of like what I thought the Lions would do last year. I think that's where they're at. Let's see here. How have you heard anything about trading for Ed Oliver? No, I've not. Not a single thing. Not a word. CJ doesn't sound thrilled being a Lion. Well, I think he is not thrilled about. He thought he's probably going to get a bigger pay. He's going to get paid better, and he didn't get paid better. So he took what he could take, and he'll do a 1-year prove-it deal, and then he'll get a big contract. The secondary is ridiculous. Ball hawker is crazy. I know, 9 drinks. It is absolutely amazing right now looking at the Lions defensive backs. It's absolutely nuts. Hashtag Lions. Brad Holmes needs to pick up the phone now and call Quinnen Williams, or defensive line is still terrible. Just depends how much first off, are they willing to trade him? And I don't think they are, personally. But if they are willing to trade him, you're probably going to have to give up 2 first-round picks. That's what I would think, unless it's less. And then you got to pay him. But make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. He would make this defense scary. The defense would be absolutely scary. I'd be looking at 2014 Detroit Lions defense right there. If you're to get a Quinnen Williams, we are a Super Bowl contender. Ibrahim. Thank you. Ibrahim. I'm going to say it now. Thank you. Hit that like button. How many likes we're at? Let's get to 100 likes. Smash that like button. Ibrahim. I'm going to keep saying Ibrahim out of nowhere. I can't see the Lions relinquishing a first-round pick for next year's draft. I don't think so either, Combat Sack. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I think they'll make the phone call, but ultimately the deal won't happen. I don't think the Jets want to get rid of him. I want to say the D-line is terrible. I don't think it's terrible either, Steve-O. I think, but if you got Quinnen Williams, it would be absolutely amazing. I think it's a good defensive line, but if you get him, it's an elite defensive line. Broderick Martin fixed the defensive line. I don't think he fully fixed it. I think he fixed helped stop the run game. But if you want that pressure up the middle to get to the quarterback, I think we're kind of missing one little piece there. Everywhere, Gibbs, yes. Not at center. Gibbs. Hey, that's a funny one. No, he's not going to be playing center. Let's see. Don't sleep on Martin. He will end up a better player than Carter. That would be amazing. Look, Carter could be a bust for sure. I'm not sleeping on Broderick Martin. I like him a lot. Should we trade for a defensive end? I don't think so. I personally don't think we should trade for defensive end, Riley Elder there. I think we're good at edge, in all honesty, and I think we're fine with it. Half Jag HGB, what about Wentz as a backup quarterback? We got backup quarterback here with Hendon Hooker and Nate Sudfeld. Hendon Hooker is going to be our QB2 when he's healthy. I think Sudfeld holds the fort down until Hendon he's ready. So I don't think we need to. Would you sign Leonard Floyd? No, probably not. I'm fine. I'm fine with a lot right now. Heavyweights is almost on. Martin is a long way from being the answer. Let's see. Sorry to repeat myself loudly, but Ibrahim and Jamar Jefferson over Craig Reynolds. Okay, so you're not a big Craig Reynolds fan. That's fine. That's fine for sure. He didn't do a lot last year. He was injured. I liked him year 1 with Detroit, but last year he didn't do so well, and it's a year-to-year thing. Do you want to pay that much that it's going to be hurt if you're going to be hurt? Do you want to pay that much if you're going to be hurt? Definitely don't want to pay much. Carter now sitting on a $40 million private lawsuit. Interesting. That is interesting. Well, look, he's got problems he's got to deal with with this issue. Our weakness is just the lack of playing time as a team. That is for sure, and we're going to have opportunities to build upon that. But in all honesty, they brought a lot of the same players back last year, so I don't think the chemistry is going to be that far off compared to other teams. How the health of Mosley? Don't know yet, but he should be good for training camp. That's what I was hearing. He should be pretty good, but expect him for week 1 for sure. See, what about the cornerback from UAB that was undrafted? All honesty, I have not looked at a lot of the undrafted guys except for just a handful because a lot of these guys are not making the roster. They're camp bodies. They're not going to make it the cornerback position unless one blows up. It's just not going to happen because you're talking about got Cameron Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, Jerry Jacobs. Those are your 1, 2, 3, and then you got a lot of other players that plays that position as well. You even got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who could play nickel at some point. Then it's full right now, so I don't see that happening. That's why I haven't really paid much attention. Unless they show out on training camp, I'll give more thought to it. But right now, I see it not being necessary because I don't want to blow smoke up people's butts and say, oh, this guy, he's going to come up and do something until I see it a little bit. There is a bet going off that Goff gets injured early, and I hope that doesn't happen. You don't want Jared Goff to get injured. Look, I'm a Hendon Hooker fan. I love Hendon Hooker. I want Jared Goff to play this whole year because he is the veteran quarterback. He knows the system, and he is better than a rookie. Okay, and I'm trying to win right now. Definitely trying to win. Don't want to see Hendon Hooker play this year. Rest up, red shirt that bad boy, become a backup week 10. Jared Goff right now is going to give you the best opportunity to win, and I want to win now. Kirby is phenomenal. What will he do? Tracy Walker, look, he's going to be back there, and if he's healthy, and I think he is, he'll be there with CJ and Kirby as the safety. You're going to see him. We paid this guy a lot of money. He's going to be on the field. He's going to play. Athletic quarterbacks are overrated. Most important qualities for a quarterback is being accurate, smart, calm under pressure, and executing the offense very well. Well, I could say that who is the quarterbacks in the Super Bowl this last year? Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. They're mobile quarterbacks. I think being mobile is an addition to the quarterback. I think you're right. You got to have accuracy. You got to have great decision makings. You can't turn the football over. But if you're mobile, it brings a plus to you. It brings an added plus. If the play breaks down, they can run out. But if the play is working out properly, you're fine. #1Prime. I'm so excited to see Ben Johnson work his magic with their new weapons. I agree. This is kind of ridiculous that people want Goff to get injured. You should not want Jared Goff to get injured. That's terrible. Jared Goff does give us the best chance to win. And I'm a Hendon Hooker fan. I wanted the Lions to draft Hendon Hooker. I'm a fan of Hendon Hooker. Right now, Jared Goff gives us the best chance to win. Let's see, if we get a top 5 pick, would you try to move for the number 1 pick to get? Man, if Jared Goff goes down and we're a top 5 draft pick, then yes, I'm going to try to get the number 1 pick in the draft to get a quarterback. I would. That's me. I know a lot of people would disagree, but if he goes down and you have an opportunity, even though we drafted Hendon Hooker, why not attempt to get the best guy there is? That can really change. But that's just me personally. It is what it is. I appreciate everybody hanging out today for this show for the Lions here on Lions Nation Night. Make sure you hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, like it if you're on YouTube, thumbs up if you're on Facebook. That's what it's all about, folks, is having a good time talking Detroit Lions. We did that here. And with that said, folks, go to the heavyweights. Let them know I sent you there. My guys over there, Spencer Raxter and Speakeasy, baby.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.